This group automatically was able to integrate into the moment I walked in the door. It's an amazing group of individuals. I've been in other groups like this before. Never have I been around a group of individuals that were so welcoming and so willing to give.
Time, my big takeaway is to get into the mastermind group with Tom, and I'm really glad I did it.
And also the wisdom in this room is crazy. Felt like, water hose or fire hose, worth of information is flowing.
It's not an expense, it's an investment. There's not one that I go to that I don't come away with multi-million dollar ideas that eventually over time, okay, at this meeting here. And so I just want to encourage you, especially for the young people, Think and Grow Rich says you cannot get where you want to go without the mastermind. All the most successful people in the world have the mastermind, whether it's this one or another one. Masterminds changed my life, and I really believe they'll change yours too.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Good Success Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Culler, and today we've got another guy in the house. You're going to be the second person in this actual studio that has been. We had Mike Andrade a couple weeks ago in here, and so you're the second one that's in this. So hopefully you feel honored. You're not the first, but you're up there. So we're going to have plenty more people in this room doing interviews with them. But I'm excited. So Jared Kott. So Jared is actually from the south side of Chicago, right in our backyard. So it took you, 25 minutes to get here?
25 minutes.
Yeah, so that's easy commute for him. So definitely had to get him in here. So we know Jared. He actually came to our June event of last year for the Mastermind. And he's awesome, fantastic there at the event. And I know that he got a lot of value out of that. So we're going to come back around to you, Jared, and then we'll have you introduce yourself, and we'll get right into the interview. Before we do that, so we're going to talk about a few things. So
First of all, I want to talk about this setup.
What about the setup?
We just keep moving around here.
Well, we've had this for a couple weeks.
No, every time we do one of these, it's a different setup. We're just trying to figure this out.
We're still working it out.
We're working out the kinks.
We're still working it out because we still have our little squares here, the sound squares that we got to put up and everything. So we're working. We got that, and we're gonna put those up around the room, make it look good. But we're still working on it. We're busy, man. We got a lot of stuff going on.
All right.
Anyway, so
Change is good.
Change is good. Absolutely.
Changing it up.
So the May Mastermind went fantastic. We were very excited about it. Had a very good outcome. So the next Mastermind event is going to be August 9, 10, and 11. That is going to be happening right down the road from our office over here at Innsbrook in Maryville, Indiana. So we're very excited about that. We're going to be keeping it local, and we feel like that'd be very beneficial to our members, and it's really going to be very touchy-feely, very intimate. We love it. So we're excited about that. Go to goodsuccess.com/mastermind to find out more about that. All the dates are listed below the times, and then how you can actually sign up for that event. And then the Community Go-Giver event. So I always have Tom talk about this a little bit more into detail. We're getting up very close, very, very close, and scary close. We're excited about it, but we
might have to stop talking about it because I'm not sure we have any tickets left.
I know, so we're gonna have to check that out. But communitygogiver.com. Kevin's gonna be on the links right now, and he's gonna link everything below. So goodsuccess.com/mastermind and for the Community Go-Giver event. So Tom, talk about the Community Go-Giver event, what people can expect, and if they even are able to sign up now. So
I'm not sure if you are or not.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited about this event because we're really going to, every speaker that's going to talk is going to talk about how what you do affects your community and affects the people that you actually serve. It affects your renters, it affects maybe if you're a fix and flipper, you're affecting the price values in your neighborhood, and that really helps a lot of different people. So how everything that we're doing affects and has an impact on the community is really what we're going to focus on during that time. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to have each day, we're going to go out and look at a house. So the first day is fix and flip. So we're going to go out and look at a fix and flip. The next day is going to be a turnkey. So we're going to go out and look at a turnkey. And then the day after that will be low income housing. And Walter Wolford will be there talking about how to do low income housing. So I'm super excited about that. Actually, the way me and Jared met originally was Jim Ingersoll. And Jim is actually going to be speaking the very first day. So, so Jared, you might want to be there.
Jared, you go.
I'll be there.
Definitely,
I'll be there.
Want to be there. But anyways, I mean, basically, I'm trying to hook up my national network with my local network. So all the local people here, my local wholesalers, local fix and flippers, I want to hook them up with my out of the area network, like my lenders and my turnkey buyers, and everybody can kind of see if there's a fit there. But also just really showcase what we're doing here, and also like show you how you can do what we do in your neighborhood, or how you can possibly work with us. It's going to be a great event. I'm super pumped about it. It's going to be awesome.
Awesome. And you guys are going to see a little bit more information about that if you are following us on our platforms here. So make sure you keep an eye out for anything that we talk about. So communitygogiver.com, sign up while it's still available. If it still is available, I'm not sure. But
you can sign up for next year.
Sign up for next year too, because we're having another event next year with a little bit more of a capacity, so we'll be ready for that. But
we'll do more than 80 people next year, I promise.
Absolutely. So this is our first event, but it's going to be fantastic. I'm absolutely excited about what's going to be happening. So July 25, 26, 27 is when it's happening in our office.
Right here.
Yes,
right here.
in our office. So
right out there.
Right outside of the door there.
And when you come, you'll be able to see this studio, which by then I'm hoping we'll have our nice table.
It'll be built out, and we'll be good to go. So
we want to keep moving around.
Right. So communitygogiver.com, sign up below. You can do that not now because you're watching the live stream. So after the live stream, go to communitygogiver.com. So those of you who are watching the live stream, thank you for jumping on. If you guys don't know who we are, you're coming by way of knowing Jared over here, then welcome to Good Success. We appreciate you guys jumping on. Make sure you're giving a big thumbs up to all of these everything that we say here, and then share this video around, invite your friends to it. We're excited about it. This will be published later as a podcast. In case you did miss the actual live stream, you guys can listen to the podcast as well. So, Jared, let's get into this, man.
Let's do it.
I'm excited to interview you because you're one of the easiest people to just talk to, sit down and have a conversation with. Jared actually asked me. Normally, I do have like a set of questions that I ask everybody, but I told Jared I kind of want this to be more conversational, more than anything, because you're very, very good at having conversations and making them valuable while you're actually talking to people. So I'm really excited about this. So before we get into it, so introduce yourself, tell people who you are, and then what you do, how long you've been doing that. So go ahead and introduce yourself to our community.
So hey everybody, my name is Jared Kott. I'm a resident of the Eastside of Chicago, which borders up into Indiana. I run a property management company called Marblestone Property Group, and I have a holdings company with about 75 rentals at this time.
Awesome. How long have you been doing that?
So August 5th will be 5 years.
Wow. How did you get into real estate? Period.
It was a God moment. I got fired from a corporate job where on paper I had pretty much everything that I thought I wanted, and there was just this... I didn't walk around miserable or empty, but I had this feeling like there was more. And my insurance background was underwriting large portfolios of apartment buildings. Mm-hmm. So I always wanted to take that leap, but I didn't have the courage.
Just never did.
I couldn't do it. I feared what I had. I feared what if things went wrong. So fear was a big driver. And on February 13th of 2013, I got a call, and they said, "Do you know where conference room B is?" And I said, "Yep." And they said, "Why don't you come down here?" And I knew I was on the chopping block. And it was so scary, but it was the best thing that could have happened to me because I was forced. Mm-hmm. So I just started looking around in areas of Chicago that I saw were distressed, and I wanted to help be part of that to uplift.
What made you want to do that? What made you want to actually go out and look in your community for something like that?
Well, one, it was the entry point, right? So I didn't know how to raise money. I didn't know anything about that. But if I can combine an area where I can get in with an entry point with doing some rehabs where the time was a little bit different, but being all in for, on a 2-flat building for under $60,000, I said this is a win-win for both sides. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. So who really got you into real estate? Was it Jim Ingersoll? I know you guys met by way of Jim.
So, that's a cool segue. So when I got fired, I realized real quick, I don't have much going on. And at that time, Jim was starting to do some online training, and he was building some stuff up with Daniel Clayman. So I signed up for some of his stuff and absorbed every piece of knowledge.
How did you find Jim? Was it on Facebook?
It was like, the Google, man. It was like, I think it was like a Facebook thing or something. Yeah. And Jim's been awesome. If you're watching Jim or you see this, hello. Yeah. He's been fantastic. So.
Sweet. So what's been the biggest thing that you've learned from maybe not just Jim, but anybody being in our community and everything? I know that you did actually come to one of our Belief events too, back when we had those. Yeah. So that was we've kind of cut that out and replaced that with the Community Go Giver event now. Sure. Just having one larger event with a few more days. But what's been like the most primary influential thing that you've learned across real estate investing in general?
Hands down, it's a great question. Hands down, it's your network. Right? Like, none of us can do this alone. Mm-hmm. We just can't. I shouldn't say that. I can't do it alone. So it's nice to be able to hook up with people, local and national, that to talk about what are you doing? How are you succeeding? And also the failures. I love hearing about, and I'll be the first guy to say it. I make mistakes every day. But I talk to my network to say, how do I fix this? And why are they happening? And do you run into them? So, network.
What's been one of the biggest mistakes that you've made when it comes down to real estate?
I make them every day. I get, my personal,
the biggest one.
I get too aggressive. I in the early days, I would buy, anything under $10,000. Those are mistakes. I didn't think it through. I looked at a price tag and thought, well, I can make this work.
Do you think that's because of lack of knowledge?
Of course.
Like knowledge that you didn't know that you needed.
I had no idea. I mean, I can barely change a light bulb. So for me to think that I was going to make something work.
We'll try it out here after the podcast. We got a couple up here. We could work on that. Give you some practice. So, awesome. So, you talked about network. So, one of the questions I actually have for you is the key to building strong relationships, because I feel like anybody that comes across you're just very open, honest. You're easy to talk to, and that kind of thing. So you obviously make good connections when it comes to building relationships, which in turn is networking. Mm-hmm. What's been like the key for you when it comes down to actually building your network and building relationships, and the importance of not just adding people to your network, but actually adding value to those people in your network?
Well, it's a great question. I don't know if I've ever thought about that. So I think I'm just going to fly off the cuff and be honest.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The only way I know how to do it is the first thing is, I love talking to people, right? And I follow up. I am on the phone every day checking in. And somewhere within this group, okay, I heard somebody say, and it was probably Tom, how can I help you? Right? And that's where my network really changed. Not that I was like a blood-sucking taker prior to that, but it's a very simple concept. And in every email that I write, yesterday I was with a new broker, I didn't say to him, let's close this deal. I said, great seeing you today. Hope we can find a way to make this close. And most importantly, how can I help you? Right? And he came back and said a couple things on how I can help him. It's really about helping other people.
Yeah, it's funny. I've actually been in meetings or gone to meetings with people that they would actually have a huddle before we would go to the meeting. And we would actually try to discuss and game plan on what we can get out of this. And I was just and I would just sit there and I would just say to myself, the reason why I'm coming here is to try to add as much value as I possibly can to this room and to give as much as I possibly can to whoever needs whatever I can help them with.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because it's so important, and you don't really realize that comes back to you. It may not come back to you today or immediately or this month, but it's going to come back to you at some point.
Yeah. So along that same lines, why is it important to build a valuable relationships, but you adding the value to the relationship.
Because now
like we know the answer to this, but they may not. Like
but
people that are watching,
it's now you know what they need and now you know what they want. Like I think that's what we miss sometimes. We think that it's all about us. Like we are going into fix and flipping for us. Yeah. We're going into this because of us, and it's really not about that at all. And that's why that's kind of where I'm even like this whole year I've been thinking about this whole community go-giver event, and like really what we do is all about the people that we serve. And it's exactly what he just said. It's like you have to go there thinking, how can I help you? And just those questions, how can I help you, just changes the whole mindset. It's just like the Go-Giver book that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
In our city hall meetings in our company, it's the same thing. It's just awesome.
Now, and it's a simple concept, right? Yeah. Like it's not complicated. How can I help you? Right? I mean, there was times when I needed some help, raising capital. There was times in my career where I just couldn't get the rehab numbers right. Once you identify your problem, the hard part that I went through was not being able to ask for help, right? So there's a piece to that too, where my mindset was off. Like it was tweaked. It was, I can do this myself. I'll figure it out. And I don't know where that was shaped from, but I'm glad now to be able to try to help people and also in return accept it. It's like a two-pronged approach.
Yeah. So what's your process on that though? Like you actually ask them first, like what can I do to help you? Correct.
Well,
and then
I'm going to be honest. I got to back up. So I wasn't sure. So I sat down with Gary and Susan. I actually put a process map together on how to. No, I'm kidding. I didn't put a process map together.
I was like, where's he going with this? He's going to be proud of you, man. Did you sticky notes out?
Yeah, we went step by step by step.
Is there a decision being made?
How can I help you?
That's funny.
I mean, it's as simple as this. Just asking people. I'm working towards getting more structured in my professional life, but it's just this. How can I help? Right? And let's get down to the core of it, right? Let's break it down. Where do you need help? And I don't think there's a process. For me, there's no process to it. It's just communication.
It's just,
trust and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know that you actually do a few things in your community, like, and maybe not the entire city of Chicago. Where are most of your market? Like, where is it at?
So we're focused primarily in a couple zip codes heavy. So the far south side of Chicago, which is actually called South Chicago, a neighborhood. Below that's the east side, and then above those two is South Shore. So we're east of the Dan Ryan, the expressway, and we'll go all the way up to around Sox Park, which is 35th.
Okay.
And we just try to comb that area. But the biggest area that we're in, which is where I started, is South Chicago. And there was an old steel mill there, and when the jobs were there, things were great. When the jobs left, housing went down. And I don't know, my goal, my vision was how can I make this a better place for people to live? Because there's great people in that community. So we work hard there every day.
Yeah, and you buy and hold the properties.
Yeah, I've never sold anything.
How many do you have right now?
72.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And they're all in that area that you just talked about.
The majority are in that one area. Yeah.
Got you. So do you manage the properties?
I used to, until I figured out I was really bad at it.
Okay.
So
do you have somebody in house then?
Yeah, Marblestone is so I'm the principal of Marblestone. My partner is Erica Rodriguez. She does the books, keeps things in order, and then from there we stem out and we have maintenance crews and construction crews and property managers and things like that. But I realized real quick, like I believe that I have a big heart and I want to be able to help and fix things. But like I said, I can't change a light bulb. So my phone started ringing, and
we should do a quick tip on how to change.
I was actually
that's
what I'm saying, man. We need to get him on a training video here. Like, here's how you do it.
But we also work with so the calls are what drove me nuts. So I teamed up through networking, right, with Secure Pay One and Linda and her team.
Okay, awesome. We just had her on a couple weeks ago.
She's a great friend.
Yeah,
she does great work, her and her team. And I tell her all the time, like, you do the stuff that like everybody hates. Like that's an amazing service to have out in the marketplace.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, what's been the biggest benefactor with Linda and Secure Pay One? Because we really we haven't really talked to anybody about like the service that she provides and like how valuable it is, and we definitely want to like make that known because Linda's in our network, and like I said, we've had her on the podcast too.
Believe me, I will pimp Linda and her team out right now. So I joke around and I say I don't want the calls.
A new Libby.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I call them, yeah.
So I always start off and say, like, I don't want the calls, right? But there's so much more to it. No, I don't want the calls, so the calls start there. But what about the documentation? We use a system behind the scenes called Bilvium. It's very similar to Appfolio. You know, there's 3 or 4 heavy hitters in the market. But they keep all of that stuff, the tenant calls, the ledgers, the service calls, quarterly inspections, all that stuff is updated through them, which allows me to go out and find new deals, build new relationships. Erica oversees everything. It makes it a lot easier for her. And then the property managers are in check because there's an accountability piece to say, hey, we took the call on Tuesday at 3:42 for a dispatch on a leaky sink. Why is it 2 days later this isn't closed out? Right? So they do a great job on keeping order and satisfaction with the tenants as well.
Awesome.
So I can't say enough great things about them.
So how do you find your properties?
So
what's your source of acquisition, and then after that, are you actually flipping the property, or
never flip,
what are
hold. So we find them through. We do a lot of judicial sales.
Okay.
We do a lot of local networking. Sometimes with the housing courts. One of the good things about being ingrained in the community is sometimes, you know, you're rehabbing a house next door. I mean, we let everybody know we're buying. You know, if this is something you want to sell. So there's some direct sources there, but that's one of the things that's getting a little tougher now. You know,
is the
acquisitions are they're slowing down. I also go to the banks where we have mortgages and say, you know, is there any way we can help you solve your problem? You're not in the real estate business, you're in the lending business. Anything in default we can help take off your plate. We've had some success there with smaller banks, but it's slowing down. So the way to combat that, you know, I still think it goes down to what we all started talking about in this room, which is relationships, right? Getting on the phone, who's selling, what's going on. Maybe you have to change a market even.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Is that something that you're considering doing? Changing a market?
They say to me, if you're not growing, you're dying. I don't want to die. I just turned 40. I got a lot of living to do. So yeah, I may be looking.
Awesome. What directions are you? Or is that something that you haven't even thought about? You're like in that motion, but you haven't even thought about it yet.
What's interesting is East Chicago right now too, which is right next to where you're
right
at.
there.
Yeah.
That might be an area to come into Indiana.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I think, you know, in terms of, no, do I have pockets picked out? Absolutely not. But what I would do is kind of continue. I'm just a big fan of like water. You know, I'm a really, really basic common sense guy. You know, and I think that if there's properties available around water in industry, although they may be low now, they're not going to be that way forever. So I'd probably just continue the path. Instead of going into North Chicago, maybe jump over state line. That's probably the next reasonable thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's been one of the biggest like things that you have learned coming in, like from out of the gate, going into real estate investing, something that you've learned that maybe it burnt you, or maybe you accidentally came across it and you're like, man, I'm so glad that I did this. Like it was totally life-changing. So
again, I think it's with personality. Like I go really fast. But I learned that like it's okay to make mistakes. Like I didn't. Sometimes I look at it like it's a flaw of mine, but as I kind of like look back, I had some pretty good growth during this short period of time.
Yeah.
And if I allowed the fear to kind of hold me, I would have been in deep trouble. So everything is fixable.
Yeah.
It might be expensive.
Yeah.
But it's fixable.
Well, that's
so
good.
Yeah,
absolutely. So shifting gears a little bit, what do you think, in your opinion, for your business alone? What has been the best thing that you have implemented? Whether it's processes or EOS, or maybe it is the Secure Pay One. What's been the best thing that you have implemented in your business since you got started?
Definitely systems, because I had none.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Sure. I think that it doesn't mean that I'm good at it, right? But I find people that I believe that are the best in the industry and surround myself. This could be with anything, systems or whatever, to try to solve problems. And when I found myself chasing my tail, not being able to grow, I took a step back, and people in my network also told me the same thing. You have a couple problems here, but one of them is you don't have systems. So I've been working closely with Gary and Susan on how to develop those systems, how to develop those processes, and it really makes for not only growth, but it's like I enjoy coming to work, and I can also pinpoint now where our problems are.
How do you do that?
Follow the system and see where it breaks. Follow the process and see where it breaks down.
And have you found that?
There was a lot of leaking holes in the boat, so we're patching them. We're patching them.
So what do you do to fix those things?
So I'm a big fan of EOS. So I do some, we do level 10 meetings, things like that. We're actually becoming, and this is in like the last 12 months, and thanks to all of you guys with good success, because it was like a shot in the arm for us last summer when we came, got to know you guys better, started building up our network. It kind of carried into the people involved in the Good Success organization now to implement the tools within, right? So I forgot the question, but what was it?
Well, the best thing that as you've implemented in your business, but that led into like how you're solving the problems and the leaking holes.
Yeah. So when you're surrounding yourself by good people, they can also help you identify how to fix those problems. I didn't know. I just knew that there were some issues in the business, but I didn't know where they were. That's not a good feeling, right? Like you're running around everywhere. You're burning the midnight oil, and you're really putting everything you have in it, but you're not really getting the traction that you need. I feel right now we're gaining the traction, which is awesome, right, through the systems, and when things break down, so we can actually figure out what is it we have to laser in and focus on to fix, and that's a good feeling to know. Yeah, it's a good feeling.
Absolutely. So I've on your Facebook page, I've seen that, because I'm friends with you on Facebook. Yeah. I've seen that you've given the book Traction out to a couple people. So you mentioned traction, like the actual physical word, but the book Traction. I mean, so what have you learned out of that that's helped your business along?
Well, through that, I think the biggest thing is delegate and elevate. Right, I love that exercise. I actually did it. I did it this week, and we do it. We do it often with everybody involved in the organization, because if we can get people in the top quadrants doing things that they love and they're great at, right? It's what is it called? It's like core genius, right? Like you're just in it. It doesn't even feel like work. So that's been. That's easy to follow. I think a third grader can kind of figure that out. Yeah. So I like to keep things simple. I love delegate and elevate. I love it.
So what do you think your core genius is?
I'm still trying to figure that out. So is everybody in the office.
It's not doing light bulbs.
It's not doing light bulbs.
That's
funny. Have you been able to put other people in your organization into the core genius? Or you're still figuring all that out?
We're beginning to move right from the bottom up to the like and good, and it's sometimes it's easy though, right? Sometimes you didn't realize that you have somebody sitting in a seat, right, who's in the wrong seat, right? So you do an exercise like this, and it's like, no, I don't really like spreadsheets. You've been doing spreadsheets for 18 months. You haven't said anything. Why haven't you said anything? Well, I like my job, and I didn't want to rock the boat. Those are the eye openers, right? Yeah. From a business owner to say, I'm not doing a good job here, right? I should know what these people are good at, right? They come in every day. I want them to be happy. I want them to be in the core genius. And we just actually went through an episode like that to say, you don't like this? Well, that's 50% of your job. So we're working through that to move it around. Right.
How many people do you have working in your organization?
Not a lot. So there's 4 in-house. Then I have Secure Pay One, and then we do a lot of 1099 contracting.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
so do you do those systems with the contractors as well, or is it just the in-house people?
If the guy's going to just go change a light bulb for us,
right?
No. But if he's going to spend some time, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody.
Wow. So even with a small organization, you still have to do this. I mean, we have 20-something employees, and we're having to do this constantly, and we're always finding leaking holes, but fixing those. And I think definitely the systems is a huge part of getting that all taken care of and everything. So.
I think even with a 2-person operation, I think it's effective. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's a size to it. I think that it's one of those things that almost should be a requirement. Like if you're going to run a business, you should go through these steps. Yeah. That's like how passionate I feel about it. Because I've seen the change, right? It's like if I did something and it didn't work, I'd say, well, it's not a big deal. But when you see things working, and then you also see how quickly it affects other people. Mm-hmm. All you're doing is filling out a piece of paper. It's for it. You have somebody say, "I really want to be here." Now you have the direction. You can help them. You can lead them and put them into that greatness. That's special.
Gotcha.
It really is.
Absolutely. So just a couple more questions here. Sure. So I kind of asked you this a few minutes ago, but more specifically, getting a little bit more granular into maybe a specific thing that you want to tell the audience. What has been the one thing? So if somebody came up to you today that was a brand new real estate investor and said, Jared, what do you know today that I wish that you wish that you knew when you first started getting into real estate? What would that be?
That's a good one. I think the best advice that I can give is to say, start now, right? And it circles back to the God thing where I got fired, right? I don't regret my past. But if I had the courage to start 10 years prior, I'd be that much more knowledgeable and I could help more people. Don't wait. Don't let fear hold you back. Surround yourself with good people and go for it. If you're going to fall, we hear it all the time, right? Fall forward. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Nobody's perfect. It's totally okay.
So how do you go about finding people in your network to actually, like, maybe there's people out there that they choose to be an introvert, but they need to be an extrovert, obviously, from what we're saying. But maybe they don't know how to go find these people that you're talking about.
Well, maybe, I think a lot of this stuff is like intertwined. It's really cool. Don't be afraid to ask, right? And I always say a couple things, right? How can I help you? And then often I also say the reverse. Is there anybody close to you in your network that you think I should get to know? And I literally either say it like that or I put it in an email just like that. Is there anybody you think I would get along with, we might mesh well together, that I don't know that you may know? Because we all know people. That's a beautiful thing.
Right. Just
share information. Right? We're not going to get anywhere if we hoard it and not share it. So ask.
So you're okay with if a competitor came up to you. So let's just say Chad Nadler. So Chad is in our mastermind.
Yeah.
If he came up to you, because he's on the opposite side of Chicago, I think, from you.
We cross paths.
Right.
Yeah, we're in the same.
Well, if he came up to you and said, "Hey, Jared, can you share some trade secrets with me or something like that?" Obviously, there's going to be very confidential stuff that you're not going to share. But
Chad, if you see this, call me. I'll give you my whole blueprint. I like Chad. He's a great guy. We're in real estate, right? We're not cracking NASA codes. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to know where your competitor is going to go, right? I believe if the more you share, the more you're going to get back. So the answer 100% with that is yes. Yes.
What do you think about that? Because we just joined up with Justin and Adrian in their meetup group. Yeah. And they're competitors. What do you think about that topic?
I just don't view anybody as a competitor, even though they are a competitor in the market. I just view people as they're going to be able to benefit me sometimes, and I'm going to be able to benefit them sometimes. And as long as you're creating win-win situations, meaning that's going to win for both parties, then it doesn't really matter.
It's a cool way to look at it.
I just don't look at it like that.
Awesome. So, wrapping it up here with a couple final questions. One thing that we're going to start asking is, so what does good success mean to you? Now, good success to us might mean something totally different from what you mean. So for us, it's kind of like a journey. And it's not success isn't a destination for us. I mean, we actually had it in episode 100. We had all 6 of our good success team members in this room, and we were all talking about what good success means to each of us. Everybody had very similar answers, but there were some different ones. So for you, what is maybe not just good success, but the whole spectrum of the term good success? What does it mean to you?
I got it. And episode 100 was awesome. If anybody hasn't seen it, go and check it out.
Appreciate it.
To me, it's pretty simple, right? Like, we try to break it down in a sentence or two, and it's all we're really doing with real estate is using that as a vehicle to change people's lives. That's it. That's all we're doing, right? Changing lives for better, better quality of life for a tenant. Changing lives for contractors to be able to have them actually be able to build a business around us if they choose to. It's just that it's that simple. Change lives through real estate.
That's awesome. So you're looking at it as a platform. So real estate's a platform.
That's all it is.
And you're spreading your impact. That's a go-giver. Totally.
Yeah. I mean, it's the best. I mean, it's we pride ourselves in. I tell this all the time, like at the RIAs and stuff that I go to. Let's just fast forward and pretend it's 5 years. We're getting close on me doing this for 5 years. I made a lot of mistakes. I've had a lot of fun. I've learned a lot, but I've met a ton of people. At the end of the day, if it was all about money for me, I would go 10, 12 miles up, right? And I would flip houses on the north side of Chicago. It's much, much, much different, right? I have everything I need right now. Everything, right? I want to change lives through real estate.
Do you want to change that in your specific community right now? Like you're doing that with you talked about the properties and everything, and helping the contractors build businesses around them. Maybe a little bit more granular, for the community.
That's where I'm working on trying to get my vision larger, right? I love hearing Tom's vision, to flip an entire city, right? That's not my vision. I'm really spending time trying to clarify what exactly that is. You know what I mean? I know why I'm here, and I know why I'm in this business, and I know how we're impacting communities and people's lives through the vehicle of real estate.
Right.
But the big picture, like that big hairy thing, I'm not going to sit here and tell you just to tell you. I'm working on that, and that's the honest answer.
That's totally. So how important is that for somebody? I know that Tom has a very strong stance on this too, because Tom's thought about this for a long time with flipping Gary and then doing other big visions that we have. But for you, I mean, you're in the process of creating that vision. How important do you think it is when it comes down to it for a business owner, even somebody that has a small operation, when it comes down to it?
Well, I think it's really important to know where you want to go. Because otherwise, what are you really doing, right? It's hard to kind of get all the troops in line and, everybody rowing in the same direction. But, at the same time, I like to also stay real present in the now. So it's if I'm doing something today, right, that's benefiting the business and the people involved in it, then I feel like I'm going to get that clarity. And when I say I work, I've spent time on meditation with this, I'm not sure what my end monster goal is. And if you asked me 5 years ago, it was kind of about money. I want to get this. I want to get this residual income, and then I'm hanging it up. And I thought that was at 50 properties, and then I learned that pro formas aren't nearly what they are when you work in distressed neighborhoods. Yeah. But I'm having a ball doing it, and I know that we're affecting people's lives, which is that's what I'm here.
Absolutely. So somebody that's wanting to get into real estate and they don't really know why. They just know that the money's there. They think real estate is something I could totally make money on, and
dude, go for it.
Well, what do you tell somebody like that? Because then if they're just in it for the money and there's no backing, things start getting tough for them. They can't go forward because they don't have a reason to. They don't have a motivation. I mean,
I can't tell other people how to live their lives and how to make those decisions, but I rarely tell people when they ask not to do something unless it's really detrimental to them.
Right.
I think it's great to try something and fail. I don't think you have to have an end reason all the time in place. I don't. I don't. I think that people sometimes that's how you find the end reason.
Right.
By starting.
Right.
Right. So I say, go. I'm always telling people go for it. But again, that's my personality, and I'm all gas, very little break. So
Absolutely.
So bear with caution, right?
I got you.
Yeah.
So just a couple final questions here. So, what has been the most influential resource for your growth? So obviously you said it yourself. If you're not growing, you're dying. Like that's a very prevalent thing in you and your business.
Yeah.
What's been a resource? Maybe it's a book, or maybe it's Jim's online course or whatever that's been able to help you grow in the past 5 years.
I don't think it's fair to pinpoint one because there's so many.
Tell us what they are.
There's
Just
so
give us a
many
couple.
things in there. Like I loved the belief event last year. I don't enjoy the process, but I love going back. I love the fact that I have processes.
Yeah.
Which kind of goes back to relationships, which is tied into traction, which is tied into relationships, because if I didn't meet Jim, I wouldn't have met Tom, I wouldn't have been here. So it's like, it's this big box of all these things that all kind of play a role together.
Right. Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
cool. Is there a specific book? I know that you like traction.
I love traction. So I'll give you a current one that I'm reading it's got a red cover, Never Eat Alone. Am I close on the title? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Not sure.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We'll put it down below. Yeah.
Maybe never go to lunch alone or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. It's good. I've recently read 10X, which I can kind of waffle back and forth, but I mean, it kind of suits my energy, and I think about, like, am I really giving this one thing that I'm doing today everything? And prior to real estate, I was not a reader. I have a tough time. I have dyslexia, and so it takes me a while to absorb this stuff. And then I found audio books. I love it.
Yeah, he's on audio.
Man, I got a credit last night. I was like, yeah. I did The Art of the Deal, which is 10 hours. I was listening to that coming in. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I'm a big podcast fan. I love these podcasts. So it's an honor to be here with you guys. And I was actually wondering if there was a real studio or not. So I can vouch to say there is a studio. It's real. It's cool.
There used to not be. We were in the conference room before, so
it's cool, man.
This is nice. This is a luxury for us. So, all right. So one last thing here that we got before we let you go. So you got to leave the audience with one piece of advice, one thing that if you were on your deathbed and somebody said, Jared, tell me one thing. You got one more sentence. What would it be?
Give. Period. That's it.
Sweet. That's good.
If somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how would they get a hold of you?
They can call us. They can call the office and get patched through 312-447-2349, or you can shoot us an email at www.mpg, like miles per gallon, housing.com.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. We're going to have all that linked below, so you guys reach out to Jared and make the connection. He talked about connections the entire time, so make sure you do. So, Jared, appreciate you being on, man. We're excited about this. Thank you so much for sharing all this stuff with us. And we'll make sure that if you guys did catch this live stream, we appreciate you guys watching it. And if you are coming by way of knowing Jared, you don't know us, then thank you so much for watching us. We do have a podcast. This is episode 105 or 106 or something like that. We're up there now, so it's exciting. But make sure you are subscribed to our podcast. We're on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. We'll have it linked below. Kevin's going to do that right now. Sign up for the Community Go Giver event. CommunityGoGiver.com. We're very excited about it. Hopefully there's still tickets available. There might be a couple left, but we're getting very, very close to the actual event. So make sure you guys go sign up. Don't waste any time because they will sell out. And then our Good Success Mastermind coming up in August. August 9, 10, and 11. We're very excited about the Mastermind. It's a growing community. Jared's been to it, and he loved it. But it's a growing community. We are very excited about the way it's turning out and the group of guys that we have together now. So, Jared, that's going to do it for today's episode, man. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll definitely have you back soon.
Thank you so much for the invite.
All right, man. Awesome. So, you guys, make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Thank you guys for watching and listening to the podcast. And remember, whether you're looking to survive, thrive, or matter, our goal is to provide the tools to reach your vision. Thanks again for listening, and until next time.